30 questions, 30 answers. This is 30 quick rapid fire questions and 30 quick rapid fire answers. So let's get into it. What is the New World Order? The New World Order is a global government set up by the elites or the Zionist occupied governments around the world to push global economic policies throughout all nations, including digital currency and climate policies, one child policies. It's basically a depopulation of the world and global government where they push all their global policies throughout the world. Two, what is mRNA gene therapy? mRNA is the messenger RNA, but mRNA gene therapy is almost a mechanical RNA or ribonucleic acid. It's nanotechnology that is putting into your DNA and changing it, requiring you to have several of these shots every year because this gene therapy deletes your immune system and replaces it with the graphene based black goo shots that wipe out your DNA and your consciousness and replaces it with nanotechnology, which will require you to have annual shots. Number three, what is the mud flood? Mud flood is basically a worldwide event in which 20 to 30 feet of mud has it covered the entire world or realm back at a pre-existing time period before recorded history. Now, most likely this could have been between 1776 and 1820. That's kind of what researchers are figuring out. 1850 is where they started getting civilization back on track with clones and replicants in order to get civilization back on track. But if you look into this mud flood, you'll find between 20 and 30 feet of mud everywhere, which is kind of another flat earth proof because it's the same level of mud everywhere throughout the entire realm. Question four, what are mud fossils? Mud fossils are basically the fossilization of soft tissue that turns all living biology into geology. And basically, these giants and titans who were hit in the biblical Great Flood were all fossilized and became the world that we see today. And they do mining operations, gold, silver, copper, that those are all found in transition metals within the blood. And this is what mud fossils are in a short answer. Mud fossils are the fossilization of biology that become geology. Question five. What is Tartaria or Tartary? Tartaria or Tartary was the advanced civilization ran by Jesus Christ. It is the 1,000-year kingdom of Jesus Christ, and this is why they're trying to remove this from the history books and the common knowledge that there was this great kingdom of Jesus Christ, the 1,000-year reign after the resurrection, in which all these buildings were created, free energy, peace, and all this stuff took place. Then, after the 1,000 years, Jesus ascended to heaven, and now we're dealing in this rapture kind of time period where we're in the final days before the sorting out of the fruits. You will know them by the fruits of their labor, and now more than ever, you can see who's a bad person and who's a good person by just people's behavior. And Tartaria was the kingdom of Jesus Christ, and we are finding that out more and more each day. So that's basically what Tartaria or Tartary was. Who, what is or was Epstein Island? Epstein Island was a CIA Mossad blackmail sex trafficking operation to blackmail celebrities and politicians into pushing the agendas of the Zionist occupied governments around the world. It's always Israel. It's now Ukraine. It's whatever policies these Zionist people want is pushed forward because of operations like this Epstein Island. There are more than one island. There's up to 12 islands. See my video on Epstein Island, and you'll see more about what was really going on this island. But in short, it was a sex trafficking, blackmail, and possible cloning operation that was used by the Mossad and the CIA. And we all know the CIA is ran by Operation Paperclip Nazi people, and the Nazis were the National Zionists. What is human cloning? Human cloning is the duplication or replication of living beings due to uh, DNA and cell structures, and also you could use skin cells to create a duplicate of a person. Now, this isn't the replication of consciousness. The human clones are said to not be fully conscious beings. They do not have a soul. They're more soulless automatons that can be used for breeding or sexual purposes or Manchurian candidates. They are programmed to do a specific task. You should see my video on the fall of the old world where I get into human cloning and how it is done and performed. But human cloning was supposedly a widespread event that took place between 1820 and 1890 and repopulated the realm after the Mudflood event, in which the entire realm was depopulated, or Earth was depopulated during this Mudflood event. What are DUMBs, or deep underground military bases? Question 8. DUMBs are underground facilities which may connect to the old world and old world buildings that are buried beneath the mud flood level. They go deep into the ground and may connect to subways and tram lines, pneumatic tubes, and maglev train applications. This is where the harvesting of adrenochrome takes place, and supposed breakaway civilizations may inhabit these underground military bases or underground facilities. Most of them were built after World War II by the Operation Paperclip people who understood the mud flood and understood the only way to protect themselves from another global mud flood event was to create these military bases and underground structures in which they can hide and seal themselves off for the final end time battle as like a refuse. So if the population of the Zionist satanic elite people get wiped out, there'll be certain populations of them underground, which can then re-get the programs back going. But the word is a lot of these have been destroyed due to the 5, 7, and 10-kilometer earthquakes and sealed up. And then after they have been wiped out, they're being rebuilt for the purposes of Nasara and Jasara that hopefully is coming very soon. What are chemtrails? Number 9. Chemtrails are basically otherwise known as atmospheric aerosol injections. They are a weather modification system. They inject barium and aluminum particles into the atmosphere. They can heat them up with certain frequencies, and when they heat them up, that causes moisture to accumulate in certain areas out of the air, the way like a dehumidifier works, and then they can then move these particles around using antennas, causing different weather systems. Now, it's also rumored that the chemtrails connect to Operation or Project Bluebeam, the particles will reflect light, and when they start activating their Project Bluebeam, casting holograms around the sky, the chemtrail particles will help in that final deception. What is Project Bluebeam? Project Bluebeam is the staged alien invasion of our realm, which will happen after the Third World War. They're going to depopulate the realm with a Third World War, and then when humanity is weak, then they pull their Project Bluebeam, where the aliens come in to supposedly save humanity or mankind, offer technologies if we stop fighting and blowing up the planet, and that's when the full New World Order will be enacted with the one-child policies, the carbon credit system, and this all connects to the 5G towers and the vaccinations and the black goo substance. When this Project Bluebeam is activated, the people will then all be activated also with the 5G, and this will cause the zombie apocalypse, the alien invasion. Everything will happen at once to completely overwhelm people, and that's when the New World Order will be fully installed. See my video on Project Bluebeam, the 5G death towers, the vaccines, the mRNA. There's a whole video that explains this in greater detail. Question 11, what are UFOs? UFOs are basically unidentified flying objects or unearthed foreign objects from the old world. They are basically transportation devices, and the UFOs come from unidentified foreign lands. They're ET crafts, extraterrestrial crafts. This gets into the flat Earth, where the hidden lands are where these UFOs come from, which also can include from the ocean. Because there's a firmament above us, and because there is no escaping going up, because space is a fraudulent idea, there is no space. If you go up to a certain altitude, you're going to hit the top of the dome. And we know from biblical accounts that the firmament separates the waters from above from the waters below. So the only way to get in and out is through the oceans. That's why a lot of these UFOs come from the oceans, and they basically are from these foreign lands. This also connects to New Schwabenland and the exits of our realm through the ice wall, in which these UFO crafts are seen coming and going. There are multiple types of them. The sightings of these things have been reported way back from 1850. If you're aware of the Sonora Aero Club, that's one of the videos I've yet to do. But in short, these crafts and anti-gravity were an old world technology that they're repurposing and redeveloping in order to use this technology for their own purposes and keeping it from the people. But it's not aliens. Aliens spelled out is A-lie-N. Aliens are a lie. And whoever is telling you about aliens is a lion. That's lies. There's no aliens. There are extraterrestrials from extra hidden lands. Planets are planes on ET land. Planes, extraterran land. Planes, ET, planets. So there's no aliens. It's all extraterrestrials. But when the Project Bluebeam happens, they will tell you it's aliens, and they come from some far out star system that would take us a millennium to get to. But it's all a deception, and we are starting to understand this more and more. Question 12. What was the old world? After Jesus ascended and this rapture event happened, the old world was what was left over. Then these controllers got the old world back going until they can fully destroy it and begin the deception of the new world. We all know that Columbus discovered the new world, and 1492 and 1500 is a giant point in history when they started to reclaim whatever they could from the old world and move it to the new world, and all anything they couldn't explain would get removed, and they would slowly rebuild civilization with this old world technology until they could get the technology to the point in which the old world could be destroyed, and then all that would be left is the new world. What is the Great Reset? The Great Reset of 2045 is the complete rewriting of history, the rewriting of humanity, the rewriting of all things, and a new world order sort of mindset. One of these great resets has already happened. That's when the old world turned from the new world. And we're getting ready to see that again, where they're going to completely reimagine all the maps, the history, the sciences. Everything will be the satanic agenda. And basically, when the white Aryan Luciferian Jewish people exterminate all the Christians, they will be the ones left to inherit the Garden of Eden, which is Earth realm, and then they will completely reimagine it and repackage it as this new world order again. So it'll be like a new world 2.0 where white people will be a myth just like the giants of the old world. People will find certain historic documents and pictures of white people, and they'll say it's all doctored photos and stuff. But we're getting to the point where all white people are going to be removed from the historic timeline, and it'll all be rewritten to where George Washington, everyone will be black or brown people in order to completely control the New World Order inhabitants. That's going to be the Great Reset. What is black goo? Black goo is an extraterrestrial substance that is basically the collective consciousness of Satan. So when Satan fell into our realm from heaven, when he was cast out of heaven, that could have been a meteor strike that contained this black goo. Black goo is not graphene oxide. Graphene oxide is the building material that the black goo needs in order to replicate. So the black goo is an extremely heavy metal that is found at the lowest depths under this mud flood and flood event. This is why mining of gold and silver and all these things, they remove the gold and silver and plutonium and uranium and all these heavy metals in order to access this black goo, in which Satan, who was broken into 1,000 points of light, can rebuild itself and this final battle can take place. That's basically what black goo is. It's the collective consciousness of evil and Satan. Evil is the emerging virtual intelligent life form, which is like the Matrix or the computer program of these people. It is a digital world of satanic kingdom. It's the digital satanic kingdom, all contained in this black goo. Spores of this black goo can cause demonic possession, and all sorts of paranormal activity is caused by this black goo. 15. What is Q or QAnon? QAnon, Q is the highest civilian military classification that there is. This is like a majestic 12 level of military clearance. That is what Q clearance is. Now, supposedly, Q is also a quantum computer, and Q also stands for question, questioning everything. If you start looking into conspiracy theories, you are questioning things. It doesn't matter if it's flat Earth or lizard people or 9/11 or whatever it is. By thinking about conspiracy theories or just thinking about the opposition to the preferred narrative, you are thinking and questioning your reality. By questioning your reality, the more you look, the more you find, and you find that everything is made up from history to science to everything that we have been told by these controllers is an invention of these controllers. And QAnon is basically telling you that everything is not what it seems, and you should be questioning everything around you. It also supposedly ties into time travel and Project Looking Glass, which is a time viewing lens to see into the future and to, I guess, perceive alternate realities by taking certain changes within reality. You can achieve a desired outcome. And that's kind of what QAnon is based on supercomputers or quantum computers. I guess that's is best what QAnon is. And there's Q, which is the quantum computer. There is Q plus, which is supposedly President Trump, and then there's QAnons, which are the people researching this stuff. But on the other end of this huge spectrum, you have to understand that there is a Masonic organization called the Order, it's a Shriners organization called the Order of Quetzalcoatl, and they refer to themselves as the Q or Quetzalcoatl group. So it could all be a deception. It could be using the symbols that they use against them. The 17th letter of the alphabet is Q, and this connects to Osiris, cut into 17 pieces, and the only piece they couldn't find was the penis of Osiris, and that's where you get these phallic symbols and obelisks and stuff like that. Something to think about. Is it good? Is it bad? They make predictions that never happen, but that could be because the predictions are set for in the future, and you have to hit these time stamps, which are set years into the future because it connects to Project Looking Glass and time travel. Number 16, what is Bohemian Grove? Bohemian Grove was a pre and post World War II Epstein Island sort of facility where human hunting took place and secret meetings of these Zionist occupied people, Freemasons, stuff like that. They would do human hunting parties and that's where you get the red shoes that come into the made out of the human leather of children and stuff, is because they would hunt these children, they would capture them, they would rape them, they would sodomize these children, they would skin them and turn them into these shoes, and they all, by wearing the shoes, know that they all took place in the same rituals. But it's rumored to have a massive underground complex which connects to the old world, and it's basically a blackmailing New World Order government site before World War II. After World War II, it was also used, but now it's less used today because there's so many secret spots and bunkers and stuff like that. Number 17, what is Zionism and who are the Zionists? The Zionism is basically Satanism. All isms are connected to symbols and symbolism, and it's basically a way of leading you away from God and Jesus Christ into these different isms. In short, Zionists are basically Satanists, colonialists, capitalists, socialists. All these ists and isms are connected to the same thing, which takes you away from God and puts you into the hands of Satan or Lucifer. It is a Luciferian occult cult. It's a occultism, and it's a cult of satanic worshippers and the followers of the Satanists and the reptilians or the lizard people or whatever you want to call them. This connects to the Nazis, who are the national Zionists, and how we're all seeing this Zionism play out through transgenderism and what we see today. 18, what is flat Earth? Flat Earth is basically the belief that we live on a flat plane. There are hidden lands. And the number one proof of flat Earth is lack of curvature. The Earth is supposedly 24,000 miles in circumference, which equals 6.66 feet of curvature every mile. And you can see multiple pictures where you can see hundreds of miles without any curvature. There is no curvature because the Earth is flat. There are no satellites. The satellites are held up by balloons. And it's all the deception from keeping people to learn the truth about how God told you that it's flat, it's limitless, it's fixed. There is no outer space. And once people figure this out, they usually find Jesus Christ very quickly. It all goes together because once you understand that everything they stand for about the globe is satanic, and it gets people to understand that we are in a biblical war and there is other aspects to this war in a biblical sense, and the only answer and way forward is Jesus Christ. And the people who are globalists, they're all atheists, they're Jewish, and they push the same satanic agendas, and that's what makes flat earth so appealing, and it makes it bigger and bigger and bigger each year. What was the Greota Treaty? The Greota Treaty of 1954 was supposedly an extraterrestrial human exchange program in which ETs and humans exchanged personnel in order for a long stay of exchanging cultures, I guess. And we don't know which group this involved, if it was multiple groups, if it was like a Star Trek kind of a thing with the Federation of Planes, ET, or Federation of Planets, in which a lot of chosen people were actually used and exchanged, or it was just doing dealings with demonic entities, which was most likely because that's what the Nazis were really doing, was connecting demonic entities, and that could be who this Greota Treaty was done with. But in short, it was an extraterrestrial exchange program. Number 20, what is maritime admiralty law? That is the law of the sea. Everything connects to the sea and the currents of the sea and the sea banks, and everyone is basically a slave in this system. It has to do with your nom de guerre. I think I'm saying that right. Nom de guerre identity, where your name is in all capital letters because it's a fiction. The correct way to spell your name is colon hyphen colon. So, like my name is Michael Paul Manning, it would be colon Michael hyphen Paul colon Manning. That means anything after a colon is factual, and that is a fact. So, you are stating fact by existing in real time. You are not a forethought or an afterthought, which is a slave property as an object. And the more people get into understanding what common law is, the less maritime admiralty law has any effect. And maritime law is basically the ending dead system of death. It is the dead system where the new quantum system is the living system. What is Pizzagate? Number 21. Pizzagate is basically through a series of Hillary Clinton and John Podesta emails, it was learned that these people communicate in a secret coded pedophile language in which they exchange child pornography and adrenochrome and they sell it back and forth. And this is a big thing in Washington, D.C. This is where Pizzagate was discovered. And we now know that Pizzagate connects to Washington, D.C. And Washington, D.C. is a satanic foreign country ran by the Zionist occupied government after World War II was lost by the Republic. Possibly. We don't really understand because the Revolutionary War didn't, none of these wars have happened the way that we have been told. And this connects to the Act of 1871, where because you're a dead entity or an object or a slave, you have no rights. And this is why the Pizzagate people are allowed to exist and feed off of the humans. This also connects to lizard people and adrenochrome and the deep underground bases, and all this stuff kind of connects once you understand the coded language that they speak in. What is the Great Awakening? Besides it being the title of my great book, in which you should all get, the Great Awakening is the awakening of consciousness and the reawakening of Jesus Christ within all of the people. Now more than ever, sides are being chosen. It's either black or white, it's life or death, it's the light or the darkness. There is no more gray area. We are getting into the final days where you either see the truth of Jesus Christ or you see the truth of the darkness, and you are a satanic Jewish person who pushes science over God. And we're in the final sorting of these things. And that is basically the great awakening of people waking up to the idea of the truth of all things, the truth of all things. What is the Marburg virus? The Marburg virus connects to the vaccinated people who, through the vaccines, which contain the black goo, have lost all their consciousness and now they are almost half robotic because of the nanotechnology within them, making them homoborgenesis, which is a new type of human that will really not have rights. You are basically a robot now controlled by the New World Order people. When the 5G towers are activated, 3 waves at 18 gigahertz will hatch the spores of this Marburg hidden within the vaccines, and it deletes your 13p6 gene, which affects the frontal cortex and basically turns you into a zombie like entity. This is how the final days will play out when they decide to activate their 5G towers and the Marburg virus will be released onto the people. What is the 5G? It is the frequency which hatches the spores of this nanotechnology. The 5G also reacts with the 5G towers, which connects to Project Bluebeam and the CHEM-TRAILS. It's all a weapon system that can be used during this final deception in which the New World Order needs. It will happen at some point unless we stop it. I think no matter what, even if we have defeated these people, it will still be used to show people what is possible and what was planned for them. It has nothing to do with cell phones. It is a weapon system being used on the people during the end times in which we were in. What are the lizard people? Lizard people, reptilians, dragon people, Brill type people. These are all the satanic bloodline of Cain. They are the synagogue of Satan. They are hybridized humans and lizard people. It is genetic modification through science, and they are the satanic offspring of the collective consciousness of Satan and the black goo. So basically, certain people have this black goo in them from the vaccines. The vaccines get activated, in which it causes a replication of this of the black goo, which uses the graphene. This causes fibrous strands or clots. The clots weave into a husking, which causes the manifestation of one of these lizard things inside of people. They're all possessed by these vril lizards. They're inside of people, in which eventually the vril lizards will control people like robots. And this is how more and more of these things are happening, and more people are becoming demonically possessed because it all connects to the same stuff: the synagogue of Satan, the Luciferians, the black goo, the collective consciousness of Satan. What is the synagogue of Satan? It is the evil black goo manifestation of evil throughout our realm. It is the two choices of free will, either service to self or service to others. The people behind the synagogue of Satan are all, it's a Jewish satanic organization connected to Freemasonry and all these other secret societies in which they hide the truth in plain sight. Number 30, what does the all-seeing eye represent? It is basically the proboscis of the vril. The vril are the evil satanic manifestation of the black goo substance. And you see this all-seeing eye, they all hold up their eye, one eye symbolism. It all connects to the proboscis, in which the vril look through the ocular cavity of a person who is possessed. Okay, that was 30 questions, 30 answers. I hope you guys dig it. You can find me on Mud Fossil Research and Truth, Mud Fossil Truth and Research. You can find me on Twitter in the box below. I'm on Rumble. I'm on BitChute. I'm on YouTube, Mud Fossil Research and Truth, or Modern American Gangster on Rumble and BitChute. You can get my book with all this information in it. Lots of information I have researched over the past 15 years to understand the kind of things that I can understand and explain back to you. You can get The Great Awakening on Lulu.com, The Great Awakening Unit 1, Timeline of Historical Events, The Great Awakening Unit 2, Continued Points of Study. You can get the dual ebook version where both of them are in an ebook or a digital download, or you can get The Great Awakening Unit 1 and Unit 2 combined in one giant version, which all this stuff is in there and it is explained to people. You can find me on Gab. I don't post too often to Gab, but if you're on Gab, you can follow me at Modern American Gangster. I'm now on Truth Social at Modern American Gangster. Follow me over on Truth. I post all my videos over there. Would be good to get some more followers and gain that platform and channel and that audience. You can find my Modern American Gangster music on Spotify and on Apple Music. You can find me on Amazon Music. I'm on YouTube at Modern American Gangster. You can find me on m1n.com at Modern American Gangster. I put the audio lecture versions of these videos on there in which you can find them and listen to them. So if you're not on there, check that out. If you'd like to donate to my channel, it is greatly appreciated. If you would like to request a specific video, if you want me to research a certain topic, send donations to @mudfossil124875 on PayPal. Very much appreciated. If you have the ability to do so, please do. If not, I hope you just enjoy the videos and the content. Please like, subscribe, and follow. Leave me any questions or comments you might have. If you like this kind of video, let me know. This is the end. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching.